Rivalries in Formula One have existed since the sport's inception in 1950. Many of these conflicts occur both on and off the racing track. Some battles have been relatively fought, while others have not. But among them are some of the best Formula One drivers in the sport's history. Over the years, many of these rivalries have determined the winners of world championships. From 1975 to the present, these are the 5 most recognizable rivalries in Formula One. 5. James Hunt vs Niki Lauda, 1975 to 1977. Before jumping to Formula One, James Hunt and Niki Lauda competed against one another in junior racing. They even shared a home before they started competing. However, the two ex-roommates competed for the crown in 1976. James Hunt would win his maiden World Championship title at the Dutch Grand Prix in 1975, which later on he would refer to it as the race of his life. Lauda dominated the first 6 races of the following season, winning 4, while Hunt took home the other 2 victories. Niki Lauda slammed into the wall and out of control during the German Grand Prix on August 1, 1976. Lauda was hit by another race car as the race car erupted in flames and rebounded onto the middle of the track. Hunt had reduced the gap between the 2 drivers. At the same time, Lauda was away, even though Lauda made a miraculous recovery from his nearly deadly accident in time for the Italian Grand Prix. Hunt and Lauda were separated by 3 points heading into the Japanese Grand Prix, the season's final race. After winning the Japanese Grand Prix, Hunt defeated his competitor for the 1976 World Championship. Lauda recovered to win his 2nd World Championship in the 1977 campaign, and he later added a 3rd crown in 1984. 4. Alain Prost as Ayrton Senna, 1984 to 1993. Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna's rivalry was the most significant F1 rivalry of the 1980s and 1990s. They jointly won 5 titles between 1988 and 1993 and 7 of the 10 from 1984. Once the two were partnered as colleagues on McLaren, the Senna rivalry started in 1988. Prost and Senna, who were, at the time, partners on the McLaren Honda team, were increasingly competitive as they established themselves as the world's top 2 racers. Prost was the clear favourite to win the championship in the 1988 season, but Senna upset the odds with his daring, innovative driving. Senna's engine would stall during the 1988 Japanese Grand Prix, dropping him to 14th. Senna was able to gain 10 positions in just 4 laps. He eventually passed Prost, won the race, and claimed his first world title. Off the track, animosity between the two started to simmer when Prost claimed McLaren favoured Senna. The winning would again alternate between Senna and Prost in the 1989 season. When the Japanese Grand Prix came around, a record high level of tension had been reached. Senna attempted to pass Prost on lap 47 of the race, but disaster struck when they collided. Senna pushed his car back on the track and re-entered the race, while Prost climbed out of the vehicle. By the time Senna reached the finish line, he had been declared ineligible by the FIA. Prost won the World Championship due to his disqualification and decided to leave McLaren for Ferrari. As a result, their rivalry's most intense phase occurred during the 1990 season. Senna and Prost were tied for the championship going into the Japanese Grand Prix. He could win it if he finished first, or both of them wrecked. Senna attempted to pass Prost aggressively on the opening turn of the race, but they clashed and were both eliminated from contention. Senna won the World Championship because neither driver could complete the race. Prost fumed after the race, calling Senna disgusting and the man without honour. As a driver, Prost joined Williams for the 1993 campaign. According to a clause in this contract, Senna could not join him as a teammate. The rivalry ended when Prost left Formula One after winning the 1993 world title. Sadly, during the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix, Senna crashed and was declared dead a few hours later. Prost would wind up being one of the people who carried Senna to his final resting place after putting their animosity aside. This duel is regarded as the greatest and most devastating in history by many Formula One enthusiasts. 3. Michael Schumacher vs Mika Hakkinen, 1998 to 2001. Despite his record 7 World Championship victories, Mika Hakkinen presented a severe challenge to Michael Schumacher. Despite their intense rivalry, uncommon in the competitive F1 world, the two never let it show off the track. Schumacher and Hakkinen had competitive races before they were teammates in Formula One, most notably the 1990 Macau Grand Prix Formula 3. Hakkinen lost the race due to a crash that occurred late. The two drivers entered Suzuka virtually tied for first place in the 1998 season. With a stall on the pole that ultimately resulted in Hakkinen winning the race, Schumacher had bad luck during this race. Schumacher missed 6 races in 1999 due to a crash that resulted in him breaking his leg. When he came back, he was successful in winning the Malaysian race. Despite Schumacher's prompt return, Hakkinen would win back-to-back world championships. Schumacher, though, exacted revenge in the 2000 campaign, beating Hakkinen to the championship in Suzuka. Schumacher and Ferrari would take over the next few seasons from that point onward. In 2001, Hakkinen left Formula One. 2. Lewis Hamilton vs Nico Rosberg, 2013 to 2016. Since they first started karting, Hamilton and Rosberg have been competing against one another, which has led to their friendship over time. With more victories than any other driver in Formula One history, Lewis Hamilton is primarily regarded as the sport's all-time most significant driver. 2013 saw Hamilton finish ahead of Rosberg in their first season together. Hamilton was the more technical and tactical driver. Even if Rosberg had more experience, he had mastered the art of tyre preservation, driving in wet conditions, and general racing prowess. Rosberg and Hamilton's rivalry was further exacerbated after Hamilton defeated Rosberg to win the title in 2014 and 2015. They were engaged in combat at the 2014 Bahrain Grand Prix and in Spain when they came into touch. Rosberg would eventually win the championship in 2016, taking advantage of Hamilton's occasional shaky starts. Rosberg finished with 1,195 points, while Hamilton amassed 1,334 points over the 4 years the two raced side by side. Rosberg confirmed his retirement from the sport following the 2016 campaign, capping off a successful career. 1. Lewis Hamilton vs Max Verstappen, 2017 till present. Both Hamilton and Verstappen, the two have an overall combined world title tally of 9 championships and 138 victories, making it one of the most well-known rivalries in history. In 2017, Max Verstappen became Hamilton's main adversary when Nico Rosberg retired. Verstappen and Hamilton only sparred occasionally in the early stages of their rivalry because Verstappen was only interested in winning a few races annually. At the same time, Hamilton was focused on winning the championship for Mercedes and himself. Since then, the conflict between Mercedes and Red Bull has intensified, resulting in collisions and ongoing turmoil. The controversy surrounding the final race of the 2021 season most recently poured fuel to the flames. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix was to determine the World Championship winner. Nicholas Latifi's collision with the wall at turn 14 just before the finish line caused a safety car to enter the race, slowing it down. Verstappen dashed into the pits to get fresh tyres as the safety car approached the circuit. It had been decided that lapped vehicles would not pass the safety vehicle at this time. That choice was revised to permit the 5 vehicles between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen to unlap themselves when the collision was cleared from the track. Verstappen, who had just acquired a set of new tyres, was now directly behind Hamilton. Despite Hamilton's valiant efforts, Verstappen eventually passed the Mercedes car to win the World Championship. Everyone anticipated Hamilton to challenge for the championship in 2022 after their rivalry peaked at the final race in Abu Dhabi in 2021. Unfortunately, Mercedes' W13 could not match the speed of Red Bull's RB18 rocket, but as the season went on, it significantly improved, giving us those iconic Verstappen-Hamilton moments and collapses. If Mercedes-AMG Petronas develops a championship-worthy vehicle, Verstappen and Hamilton will have another opportunity to challenge one another. Mercedes driver Hamilton passed the Red Bull driver Verstappen on the opening lap of the Formula One Australian Grand Prix. Hamilton later defended his maneuver in response to his rival's claims that it violated the rules. Verstappen could have played defense more aggressively, probably confident that he would recover his position later with the better car, which he duly accomplished en route to victory. Later, in the F1 Australian Grand Prix, Verstappen outran an unprepared Hamilton to win his second of 3 races in 2023. The defense of his championship and a third straight victory already seems assured. Verstappen is still some distance from Hamilton's record of 7 championships, which he shares with Michael Schumacher, but the race is on.